So, Callie, welcome back to my podcast.
Pleasure to be back.
The last time we had you on was several months ago to discuss Buffy the Vampire Slayer. How sad were you when we finished all of Buffy?
I was sad, but less sad than I thought I'd be.
You were happy that Buffy ended?
No, but I had, right before we finished the show, I had gone down a bit of a rabbit hole. And, I guess I got sad for the end before the end even happened, so when it actually ended, I felt less sad.
And the last episode was a very good episode. Everyone ends in a good place, except for the characters who died.
Yeah, and the ones... I mean, there's a lot of ambiguity in the ending.
Well, after Buffy ended, we moved on and we've been watching Riverdale. What season are we up to?
6. We should podcast about that one. It's
Well,
really bad.
As good as Buffy, how does Riverdale compare to Buffy?
Riverdale's terrible.
So we're watching more tomorrow, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But we're not here to talk about Riverdale this time.
This time.
We'll cast about it in the future, perhaps.
Mayhap.
We are here today to talk about Joy to the World, the Doctor Who 2024 Christmas special.
Indeed.
On a scale of 1 to 100, where do you rank it?
76.
76 out of 100. If it was a student at high school, that would be a C+ grade. You would give this episode a C+?
It's better than some of my physics grades.
Well, you have a very tough teacher and he grades on a curve.
Mm-hmm.
So this Doctor Who has been back on the air for nearly 20 years, and they did their first Christmas special in 2005. They have not done Christmas specials every year, so I don't know what number Christmas special is. It's probably 13 or 14. For a couple of years, they were doing New Year's Day specials instead. But this episode was written by Steven Moffat, who also did Blink, which was the very first new Doctor Who episode that I showed you.
Right.
What are some things that we liked about Joy to the World?
I liked I like the actress who was in it because I know her from a different show.
And that actress is named?
Nicola Coughlan.
What other show do you know her from?
From Dairy Girls.
Now, how many American girls like you have actually watched Dairy Girls?
Some of my friends, actually.
What is Dairy Girls about?
It's about a group of teenagers during the Troubles who live in Northern Ireland.
Then we visited Northern Ireland over the summer.
We did.
But we did not go.
To Derry.
So who did she play on Dairy Girls?
She played a character named Claire.
What was Claire's story arc?
She was the very anxious character.
How old was the character she played in Dairy Girls?
I want to say 16.
And how old is the actress?
As of right now, I think she's 38.
Wow. She was playing somebody much younger on Doctor Who, though. And she was playing a character named Joy.
Yeah, she hasn't aged.
What are some things we liked about the character Joy in this episode?
I liked her whole mansplaining thing at the very beginning of the episode.
She was mansplaining to somebody?
No, she was complaining about getting mansplained.
And who was mansplaining to her?
The Doctor.
The Doctor does like to mansplain quite a bit.
He does.
But as a man who has mansplained in the past, I can't really blame him. Actually, I won't finish that sentence.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
But was Joy your favorite character in the whole episode?
No.
Who was your favorite
Anita.
character? Anita. What do we like about Anita?
Oh, she's so awesome. She's so sweet. And she seemed like a really good friend.
She seemed to have a pretty major crush on the Doctor.
Yeah, pretty much.
But at the same time, she recognized that he possibly wasn't going to reciprocate the interest.
Possibly. I don't like how the Doctor didn't come back for her.
Well, he does come back for her.
No, but not. No, he's not there.
He takes her off Earth and he offers her a job in the coolest hotel ever.
Nope. I also do not like the ending of the episode.
Well, we're going to unpack that, but let's talk about the idea of the Time Hotel first. The Time Hotel is not what the episode is about.
But it's the best part.
It's what Hitchcock would call a MacGuffin. It's a way to get the story started. And the Time Hotel takes us to several different rooms, and all the characters will come back, and they tie everything together at the end. If you were to go to the Time Hotel, if it were a real place, name 3 times that you would like to visit as a guest at the Time Hotel.
Oh, that's a good one. I'd like to...
I'll start you off.
No, oh my god.
You want to go? You want to go first?
The end of the American Revolutionary War.
1781, the Battle of Yorktown, or
Yeah,
1783 when the treaty is signed.
I'd like to go to the Battle of Yorktown when the British surrendered.
Would you go there and start rapping from Hamilton, and they would say, "What are you doing?" Because they wouldn't
No,
understand
but
rap in
I'd like to see
1781.
what happens.
Do you want to see if the British soldiers really sang "The World Turned Upside Down"?
Oh, absolutely.
I want to hear that.
Want to hear that? Second one, I would like to go to the end of the Peloponnesian Wars.
Wait a minute. The end of the What are you, Thucydides?
Indeed.
You are Thucydides.
Well, I feel like it would give me a leg up in history class, and, gotta get them extra points.
But Bill and Ted already did that when they brought Socrates to give their history lecture.
Okay, well, my name is neither Bill nor Ted.
As someone who used to live next door to San Dimas, and I would go to Boston Market in San Dimas I've actually got a San Dimas Boston Market receipt in one of my books over there as a
So
bookmark.
proud of you.
It was cool going. Mommy and I almost moved to San Dimas just to say we could live in San Dimas and say most excellent all the time.
I'm glad you didn't.
But anyway, so alright, so number one is...
Well, not in any particular order.
Alright, but Thucydides is your second one. So the Battle of Yorktown, Thucydides. What's your third? Now, the hotel gave us some options. You could visit the Orient Express, the famous train line in 1962, where a character from James Bond is living in the Doctor Who universe.
That would be cool. Does the time frame...
There was 1940, visiting a couple who was a very stiff upper lip couple surviving the Blitz. And then, of course, there was Mount Everest, 1953. We saw Edmund Hillary and...
you know what I think? I think...
Tenzing Norgay.
And I think the third one would be the second of the creation of the universe. Would be my third.
That's already been shown in a Doctor Who episode.
Okay, well, I want to live it.
You want to live it. The thing is, you wouldn't survive it because the...
Okay, but just to get to be there.
You'd have to be very, very far away in a gravity bubble.
But also time is nothing and everything in space.
So your
The
third...
concept of vastness.
Your third place to visit isn't even part of Earth history. It's a cosmic thing.
Which makes it part of Earth's history.
Well, part of everybody's history.
Exactly.
It's also part of the history of Pluto and Uranus.
So I get like 9 for 1.
All right. So that's good. I would want to go back and visit the Exodus of the Hebrews from Egypt.
Of course you would.
I would go to Moses and say, I would say John. Actually, I want to see the very first Seder.
Why?
Well,
Probably really depressing.
well-
And they're probably drinking real tears, not salt water.
Well, the modern Seder tradition is less than 3,100 years
The
old.
matzah's probably tastier back then.
Anything is tastier than modern day matzah.
Oh my god, keep the lid on, don't want it to get fresh.
I would also go back to August 1987
Okay.
when I was on my very, very first date, and I would pull myself aside and say, dude,
Okay, so then I wouldn't exist. So what you're saying here is you don't want me to exist.
you would exist.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't exist in how I exist now had you done that.
As Jeff Goldblum says in Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Wait, is it a constraint? Can I travel to the future?
Well, in the Time Hotel, you can travel to the future, I expect. The problem with traveling to the future is you can't really come back.
I'd like to see what my wedding day looks like. That'd be cool.
I would be crying. You would see me crying buckets of tears. That's pretty much a given.
Yeah, I know.
And you also know what advice I'm going to give you on your wedding day.
I'm scared. What?
The same advice that Homer Simpson's dad gave him. If you ever go back in time, don't step on anything. It can change the future in ways you can't possibly imagine.
I would just like spectate from like the background.
You would be a guest at your own wedding?
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't you rather go back to 2005 and be a guest at Mommy and Me's wedding and see how it all started?
No.
No?
Because I have the photos.
That's true. But
already
those
have the
photos are
photos.
kind of grainy. That was really before high-res digital cameras came into being. Our photos were developed in a dark room.
I love that for you.
I guess I wouldn't be allowed to go back in time and give myself advice. I guess that one was kind of ruled out.
No, because he did it with the code.
You mean the doctor? What did he do with the code?
He, like, lived a whole year, came back, and continued the loop.
But it was very nice. He learned a lot about himself living with Anita for that year.
Oh, he treated Anita so terribly.
He gave her the best year of his life.
And he didn't come back for her.
He offered her a job at the Time Hotel where he's going to be a guest.
He didn't come back for her.
It's implied that...
Okay, but it's not what's implied. It's about what he actually does.
So you think the doctor... Alright, what I didn't like... There are two things about the ending that I didn't like.
The Bethlehem.
Alright, well, we'll come to that in a minute. It was a nice episode. It was a fun episode. It was a Happy
Or it ends
episode.
with a death.
According to Joy, she doesn't die. She transforms and she becomes a star.
Fire.
That's cool.
No, I'm talking about the mom dying.
Well, that was an acknowledgement that COVID is real in the Doctor Who universe.
Well, COVID is... I should hope so.
That's what I like about the cartoon Nancy. The cartoon
I
Nancy
love Nancy.
existed in the COVID universe. Nancy was going to classes virtually
Nancy
and
is
wearing a mask.
one of the best comics, I would say.
Whereas I had a chance online to ask the cartoonist who does The Born Loser, and he said COVID didn't happen in his universe, which I think is a
Nice.
kind of a weak choice. I mean, The Born Loser, if you rank every cartoon from 1 to 10,000, Born Loser is probably no better than 400 or 500.
I mean, the name is The Born Loser.
But the guy who draws it is very active on Facebook and answers a lot of questions, and he's a very engaging guy, so I follow him on Facebook.
Ooh, I don't want to go to the Great Chicago Fire. I just have that song stuck in my head.
Do you want to see if it was really a cow
Well,
owned by Mrs.
it
O'Leary?
wasn't. We went to the museum and they said it wasn't.
Well, you say the museum. My listeners are all over the world.
We went
Which
to the Irish Immigration Museum
That's true, in Dublin.
in Dublin, yeah. We went there and they said she didn't do it. And if the Irish immigration says she didn't do it, it's good enough for me.
It was anti-Irish propaganda. The one constant throughout all of history is that there's always anti-immigrant propaganda.
Almost as much as they hate the Jews.
So what I would want that was dark. It was very dark.
You're welcome.
This episode canonizes that Jesus is real and that the star over Bethlehem.
Okay, that's what I don't like. It's overly religious.
It was a Christmas episode.
Okay, well, I'm thinking secular Christmas with Christmas trees and lights, not like the whole Jesus.
Well, I am wearing my Charlie Brown Christmas T-shirt
Okay,
right now.
well, it's Charlie Brown, so it's different.
Do 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 do.
Wow.
Do, 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 do,
What a
do.
soundbite.
Well, it's off license. If I use the actual footage from the episode, I'd probably get sued by the license
I would
holder.
assume.
Christmas episodes tend to be a little more sentimental than regular episodes, but the Doctor is nice to a lot of people along the way. There was Trev.
Is it because of Jesus, though?
No.
Well, I feel like that part of the episode was unnecessary.
Which part was unnecessary?
Where they reveal that it's in Bethlehem. It just feels unnecessary to me.
It's taking a story out of an old book and saying this story was real and it actually
I
happened.
don't think it had to. I don't think there was any reason for it to happen. It was plenty Christmassy otherwise.
It does make sense though, because I spent the last part of the episode thinking all this took place in the far, far future. And then I was wondering.
There were dinosaurs.
Well, no, the star is swallowed by a dinosaur, and then the star lives in the briefcase for millions and millions and millions of years.
Okay, well, the thing is like time is irrelevant in that episode.
But I thought the scene where they knocked the briefcase out of the cave was far, far in the future.
No, it was Indiana Jones.
Well, Indiana
Wow.
Jones was the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, and
Exactly.
60s if you follow the last movie, which most people don't.
Mhm.
The point being, thusly, I thought when they finally find the briefcase and Joy becomes a star, I thought it was in our future, but it turns out you could see the star in 1940, in 1953,
Okay,
in
yeah, because the
1962.
point of the episode is that time is everywhere.
So Joy had to become a star before 1940 so they could see her from the Blitz. And that star gives joy to everybody, not just in Bethlehem in ancient times.
But we don't need the whole Jesus thing.
True. But,
That's just my spin on
well,
it.
it is, again, if it was a Purim episode, it would canonize the story of Purim. But this was...
Well, then they need to make a poem episode.
Steven Moffat, if you're listening, do a Doctor and Queen Esther episode.
Wait, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Make
Who would
Queen Esther a canonical character.
Who would you cast to play Queen Esther?
Well, that's a good question, and I don't want to. Trying to think.
I mean, you want to pick
A Jewish person.
well, there's Natalie Portman, there's Gwyneth Paltrow, there's
I
Scarlett
feel
Johansson.
like Natalie Portman would make a good Queen Esther.
True.
I want to see that.
There you go. All right, so Steven Moffat, if you're listening,
I want to see that.
get Natalie Portman on Doctor
And
Who.
I need a real life version of Jafar to play Hammond because that's who I would always picture when I was younger.
What's funny is Aladdin was your very first Broadway show.
Yeah, I need somebody who looks like the cartoon version of Jafar to play him because that's how I imagined him.
The actor that we saw playing Jafar on Broadway in 2016 for your first Broadway show was actually Jonathan Freeman, the voice of Jafar from the movie.
Okay, so
He actually
him.
joined the Broadway cast.
So him. I want him.
Very good. That was a great show in terms of choreography, but he had the choreography range of about a step to either side. If you were to put me on Broadway, I would have about as much dancing range as him.
You sure about that one?
I don't have that much choreography either. In case you couldn't hear that at home, Callie was saying "we know" in a very sarcastic whisper.
Mm.
All right, so we like Trev. We like the doctor.
I like Trev. He's very loyal.
When the doctor realizes the Silurian is dying, he's very nice to him and getting the Silurian story. The Silurian talks about being rescued, and he was wandering through the cave 65 million years ago, and then he's discovered by the Time Hotel, and those guys are really nice to him. We see the kind side of the doctor. He's nice to people. That's his thing.
I don't like them. I feel like pick a niche, stick to it.
What niche would you prefer?
I like the annoying version of the Doctor more.
Well, when Steven Moffat writes for the Doctor, he's very annoying.
I know, and I prefer that to the nice.
So you don't want the Doctor to be mawkish or sentimental. You want the Doctor to be a little bitter or a little sarcastic.
Yeah. I feel like you've been living for infinity. You've got to be annoyed.
No, the Peter Capaldi Doctor is probably the most cynical of the new series Doctors, but even his Christmas special was my favorite, probably. The Husbands of River Song. That's probably my favorite of the Christmas specials. Because he plays a different side of the Doctor there. The sentimental side. But again, that was a Steven Moffat episode, so he veers towards the sentiment.
Yeah.
Alright, so based on this, Callie, would you want to watch other previous Doctor Who Christmas specials?
We'll see.
Are you interested in watching the new season that is coming in a few months' time?
Maybe.
What did you think about Millie Gibson's small cameo in this episode?
I thought that was cute, but I don't think it had to have happened. I don't know why she had to get the call from her mom at the end. That wasn't necessary. I think it could have just been her looking at the star. That last bit didn't have to happen.
Which last bit?
Like where she gets the phone call and it's her mom. That didn't have to happen.
Oh.
I felt like it's not that it was bad. I just didn't feel like it contributed anything.
It's probably a tie-in towards the next season where Ruby is going to be a companion for about half the season.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because she had left at the end of Empire of Death, and this is a way of her... When the audience is binging Doctor Who on YouTube 20 years from now, they're going to think she left, and then in the very next episode that they watch 5 minutes later, there she is, so you know she's coming back.
I suppose.
Now, lastly, in America, classic Doctor Who is being uploaded to YouTube for free, one serial at a time, 1 or 2 a day.
Right.
Are there any past classic Doctor Who's that you want to explore before going on to the Ncuti Gatwa Doctor in the next season?
I want to rewatch Enlightenment.
You want to rewatch Enlightenment?
I do. I really liked it.
We're gonna make that happen right now, Callie. We're gonna put it on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on this show at a later date when we come back to discuss Riverdale.
Oh gosh.
For the audience, how would you describe Riverdale in 3 words before we sign out?
Does it have to be like in a sentence, or can it just be 3 adjectives?
3 adjectives.
Bad.
That's 1. Not a very
Over
nice.
dramatic.
Over dramatic.
Unrealistic.
So what you're saying is you can't stand the show and you never want to watch it again.
Yeah.
You want to watch Riverdale right now?
Yeah, sure.